Hello, everybody.
Hi.
We're going live from the Women Inspiring Network, and we have Mansi Zaveri joining us, Kamna Arora, and Garima Bhandari. Uh, Harpreet Suri from Mom Wears Prada is facing some technical difficulty, so she'll join us as soon as she can. So, as you all know about the Women Inspiring Network, and some of you have already been on our platform, it actually took shape during the lockdown, and we've had a tremendous response of a 10 million reach. And we've just finished with our film series, Films and More, where we had a lot of actors, filmmakers, women authors, and we had partnered with Inox and Business World, and we had a 10 million reach on social media. We've done 100 plus live sessions or videos on our platform. Today, of course, we are going live for Jai Hind College for their festival, and we have chosen the panel of esteemed women entrepreneurs. And of course, I would want you all to tell us a bit about your journey. Next in line, we are doing a fashion, tech, and sustainability series with IIT, and where we had the leading sustainability activist Bandana Tiwari. That's next week in the pipeline. A mental health series for students, high school students, as well as young professionals, has been doing really well. Please log on to Instagram to see the stories and how everybody has come out with their stories, and it's so courageous on that. So I'm just going to start with you, Kamna. Tell us a bit about your journey, and you converted your passion into a career. So tell us a bit about Yellow Stripe and how you started your journey, and how did you convert your passion?
Okay. Hi, guys. Firstly, I'm Kamna, and I have a company which is called the Yellow Stripe Dance Company. And so I started off a couple of years ago, actually, more as a freelancer, more as somebody who would just, freelance mostly back in about 2015. But in 2017, I kind of realized that, yes, this is, dance is my passion. It's something I love to do, but I needed to somewhere formalize it. I needed to make a career out of it. And once I decided that that's what I wanted to do, so in 2017 I went on to create co-founding my company, which is the Yellow Stripe Dance Company. And yep, it was exactly what you said. It was a passion switch into a career. It was just that. And that's a tough move to make sometimes, because you can never be sure enough, especially when you're just converting, with what people consider today to be a very unconventional career of being a dancer. So yeah, it was, my journey has been now 3 years long. We've had our company, and touchwood, it's doing well. And it's actually in India now, we're receiving, dancing as a general, as a career, is now receiving a lot more appreciation as it used to maybe many years ago. So yeah, it's been a wonderful journey. It's come with its ups and downs and a lot of things. But I feel like, I always say this, that when you're sure of your passion, and when you're very sure that this is what you want to do, there is always, a way to kind of convert it into a career as well.
And Mansi, tell us a bit about your self. You started Kidstop Press, I believe, few years back, and you were one of the first few voices digitally, especially for mothers and their go-to needs. So tell us a bit about your journey, and how has it felt to be the new voice, the new age voice in today's time?
Right. So for everyone, I have a career spanning over 15 years as a professional marketer and communication specialist. I have headed the digital division for FC UK and Calvin Klein in India. This was way back, and my last formal assignment. I started Kidstop Press because I knew that digital was going to be the non-intrusive medium where we are going to spend over 70% of our waking hours. And I think it wasn't a shot in the dark. It literally has become our reality today. And my journey started from as simple as traveling, after my daughter was born 2.5 years later, I backpacked with her across different cities of the US. And I said, ye to India mein hona hi chahiye. And I said, I'm going to quit my job and start a niche publishing empire in the parenting space. Parenting baby care market is over 20,000 crores in the country and is growing. What we are addressing is the latent demand of individuals between the age of 28 to 45, and building a 360 dissemination company out of that now produces over 500 social natives a month, connects with over 250 brands in a month, and has empowered over 300 million parents in the last 8 years. And of course, like I said, social media is a huge part of our business. If you're not following us, make sure you do. It's at Kidstop Press and at Mansi.Zaveri. Would love to kind of get your key takeaways from our conversation today, and would love to learn from you guys. So please do take screenshots and tag WIN and each one of us, because I think that's and I've actually come to this session to learn from you guys, because I think you know, the younger guys are so much more agile that it will really help businesses today a lot more than anything else.
And Garima, of course, you've been on our platform earlier, and you know, you've started a whole wellness yoga business which is so relevant in today's time, especially during COVID and now. So please tell us a bit about that and how you decided to become a coach in this particular field.
Thank you, Stuti, for having me today. And my journey was very simple. I was married at a very young age, and before I knew, I had my kids, and I was fighting very bad postpartum depression, where I felt that nothing is working. I was trying to change everything externally, you know, about my life. I was changing cities, I was changing my exterior. Everything was just like, you know, maybe I'm going to find that solace externally, without realizing that, you know, I was missing the whole connect with my own self. And somehow that calling happened. As they say in yoga practice, that, you know, you don't go hunting for yoga. Yoga is that sacred practice which picks you. So yoga kind of picked me up, and then there.
So Mansi, till the time Garima comes back, tell us a bit about the vision behind Kidstop Press. And you have such a huge following now, especially for the parent-child community. So tell us a bit about the vision.
So the vision was always to build a one-stop solution that empowers parents to make informed choices. And trust was a very important part of our vision. So everything that we do, and we make sure that trust is a very integral part. And guys, we did over, you know, my background is also consumer behavior specialist. So I've done over 10,000 hours of consumer work in, you know, back in my formal corporate years. And what I did was, when I started Kidstop Press, I used the same funda. Get down to research, formulate what your target audience wants, and take that forward, right? So when we did research, we understood, and being a parent myself, it helped me understand that the one person that another parent trusts the most is a fellow parent. So therefore, while a lot of you know, contemporaries in my space have platformized it, if I was to say, but we've stayed a hybrid between personification and platformization, right? Because we've realized that as we move forward in the virtual world, everything that's more personal led will drive a lot more trust than anything else. And that's what we've stuck. Also very important as a learning that we developed with our vision over the last couple of years is that go where your consumer is. Do not wait, especially if you're working in a content space. Go where your consumer is. Don't wait for the consumer to come to you, right? So whether it is launching our own podcast this year, we know that there is a podcasting audience out there. We know that, okay, there is a book market. How can we connect there? We launched a book this year. We've launched white papers, because we know that that's the marketing managers, the brand managers, digital managers. That's where they exist. How do you attract them? So your business is not only what you see, but it also is what others see of you, right? So make sure that while your social footprint is very strong, that is social. How are you going to be searchable? That's going to be taken care of by YouTube and Google. So make sure that you exist where your consumer is. Make sure that in a day, you know what are the different touch points that your consumer is spending time on, and make sure that your vision and your actions combine that consumer behavior.
And Garima, tell us about the obstacles you faced when you started off. Tell us a bit about those.
I think for women, the obstacles start right at a very early age, where there is a preferential thing given to your male sibling, and then it goes on to your work atmosphere also, where you definitely see some misogyny happening, where you might have more skills, you have a better skill set, but other person is given preference. So for me, biggest obstacles were this. And obviously when I chose the path of being a single parent, so there were so many things that I had to hustle, I had to juggle, and I was the breadwinner, I was the maid, driver, like a Durga avatar, where you have 10 hands and all the hands are working simultaneously. So and still at the end of the day, you would feel that this is not enough. Maybe I didn't do enough. I still have to go. I have to do more. I have to do more. So these were some obstacles, but thankfully with my practice, I was able to calm myself down, calm my entire system down, and tell myself that it's okay to just slow down and work on myself first, because I was doing everything else. I was trying to be best at work, I was trying to be best at home, be there for my kids, without realizing that I have to be first there for myself. So that kind of a support system, once I developed for myself, I felt that was the biggest obstacle that was stopping me, and I was able to overcome it.
And Kamna, you actually were your family supportive of your career? Tell us a bit about that.
So, when it comes, this is a very common question that you'll hear when, especially someone chooses the path of being an artist, or especially dancers, or just going that way. You'll hear this question a lot, and sometimes I wonder that why do we get asked this question? But it is reality. It is reality that a lot of times you will find you won't find too many people being supportive of you initially in your initial stages. When you wake up one day and you say, I want to be a dancer, your parents will be like, why, what, for me, actually, I've had it in the middle. So initially when I literally woke up one night and said I want to be a dancer, and I had gone abroad, I had studied, I was working, I had a marketing, PR, proper stable job. So, for them, it was like, what is this sudden thing that you want to do? Like, why do you want to switch your career? And not even switch your career, why do you want to give up your career and suddenly become a dancer? It was more like that. So initially I had to face a lot of that, especially, like I said, in India there are many questions that are asked to many young people, especially when they choose a path like this. So yes, initially I had to kind of explain, but I knew one thing. I just knew that this is what I want to do. So whether I didn't want to rebel, I didn't want to fight, but I wanted to prove my point that I know what I'm doing. Now, when we talk about family support, you have to understand that families don't just say no because they feel like. They're thinking about you. They're thinking about what is better for you, whether you should or shouldn't take that because it's your future. So my understanding was that. So my understanding was that when you want to make a point, don't fight. Prove it that, okay, you know what, give me a year. This is what I did. I said, give me a year, let me figure it out. If it's working out for me, and if you feel that it's working out well, then we can take a call. And that's what they did. So I made sure that I just didn't jump into it as a career. I educated myself, I prioritized, I planned, I understood, and most importantly, I upped my skill set, so that if I do take this as a career, I know what I'm doing, and it earns me well, and it's good enough for me to be independent. And that's when my parents also realized the same thing. And eventually, of course, when I opened my company, for them, it was a very big deal. And now when they see me today, they're nothing but supportive. So I always had it in the middle. But again, I always say this to young people that, if you're very sure, don't fight and just don't be like, ye karna hai mujhe. Find a reason, find a way to do it, find the correct path, and you will find your parents being supportive of it.
Yeah. And so have you seen the role of women, and that's common to all of you, has changed in this new age in the last few years? What's your thought on that? Mansi, would you like to start?
Yeah, so honestly, I'm at this dichotomy where 10 years ago, I was listening to my mom. I'm still listening, but now I'm also sandwiched and I'm also listening to my 11-year-old as well, right? So every step that I take, and I kid you not, I am far more conscious of what I am doing, because I am raising a future female leader, right? And I am raising two of them actually. So it's kind of a very watched and well-trodden path. But I have to say that, you know, I was one of four. Like, I'm one of four daughters, right? So my parents raised us like, and you know, unlike my fellow co-panelists said that they had to fight a lot. I didn't have to fight anything. The only thing I had to really, you know, the biggest obstacle for me was actually time, because I started being an entrepreneur after my child was 2.5, when time was the biggest commodity, most expensive commodity for me, right? And I was just trying to do so much in that one day. But now that when I look at it, I'm telling you that I've become far more, you know, so when we're raising a future generation, especially, I don't think that they are as, they're pretty fearless. They're quite, they speak their mind, which is fabulous. They don't mince their words. Like, I think our generation had the biggest problem of like, na kaise bolna hai, right? It takes a lot for us to say no. These kids don't care. It's a yes or a no. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned from my children, that there's no gray, there's black or there's white, right? So unlike, you know, when we used to work, we used to feel like you know, the Western world could say no very clearly. Hey, I don't work over the weekends, or hey, you know, I'm sorry, I'm not available at this time. I feel the Indians can still not do it, right? We just feel like, no, we're obliged to do it, right? So I feel that's a big thing. But the only one thing that I feel as a woman leader, and which I feel like the future generation lacks, is grit, resilience, and and you can't generalize, of course, but the hunger to learn. Yeah, we were far more hardworking. And I know all of these guys who are watching us are not going to be very happy with his answer, but we wanted to take on everything to learn. They want to take on everything to show. There's a huge difference.
Yeah. In fact, you know, I'm surprised that you said that. Just before our session, I was a panelist with Business World, and the session was of women in communication, and we were all talking about the role which women has sort of played, especially if you look at the world leaders, like the New Zealand Prime Minister, the role she has played during COVID, you know, and how women-led countries have actually overcome, or you know, sort of had better responses to COVID, you know. And on that note, I started my PR company, which is Crosshairs, when I was 23 in Bombay.
Wow.
And now the Women Inspiring Network has taken shape during lockdown. So I feel we as women, we have so much of drive, passion, perseverance, you know, like the fire in the belly, and we like to dream big, and we can multitask. You know, like I have a 4-year-old, I can, you know, I've being able to do all of that, you know.
Kudos to you for doing that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think now, I think Harpreet has just joined us, or she's still joining. Harpreet is still joining. But would you like to answer that, Kamna, in the meanwhile, till Harpreet is joining us?
Yes, you know, I like Mansi very correctly said also, but also I feel like women have always been there. It's there. When we talk about women leaders right now, we talk about it as if it's a recent thing, but it's always been there. It's just that we're stronger enough to voice it now. We're coming out digital, whether it's in real life, whether it's online, whether it's everywhere. I think women are just voicing it more now, and more and more people are open to the idea that a woman can be independent career-wise, and at the same time have a personal life, to have a work-life balance. It's a very normal thing now. You know, something that was considered, you know, I don't know what, a few years ago, or many times, you know. So I've heard this a lot, and you know, I get questioned a lot that you're 30 and you know I'm going to be 30 tomorrow. So if you're 30, you're not married, you know, you don't have kids, and you're just working all the time. So my answer to that is just, so what? So what? Like, I've chosen that for myself. If I had a kid, I would be doing the same thing. If I don't have a kid, I'm doing the same thing. So we're all equally, there is no difference, you know. So, you know, a lot of people, like, you know, tomorrow's my birthday, and the one question I'm getting asked today is, what are your marriage plans? I mean,
wow.
You know, I'm not changing anything. So that's what I think, that a lot of times that's what we need to change. So if you're 20 and you have a kid, or you're 30 and you don't have a kid, it doesn't change.
Doesn't matter.
You
No, I agree on that completely. I mean, I have decided to have it late. My sister had it when she was in her early 20s. I've had it in my 30s. So I feel that sort of really, I mean, it's each to an individual, you know.
Definitely.
And Garima, why don't you throw some light on this?
I was just saying that, you know, womanpreneur is not someone who has the perfect balance between work life or home life. I think a homemaker pretty much for me is a womanpreneur because she is doing much more than any other person would. There is so much that gets left unnoticed and unacknowledged so many times. So it is, I think the prerogative is of the woman whether she chooses to be prioritizing her family and kids over her work, or you know, her career and work comes first and she puts everything back on pedestal. Like, you know, nobody should have a say on that. It is her own choice and decision. um, because she's listening to her own gut, own instinct, and that's what really matters. And this panel exemplifies so many successful women, you know, uh, who are here to empower other women. And I think in every field, I see that women are finally unlocking their creativity and coming out out of their cocoon and discovering that even their passions can be their full-time career. And hustling and managing work-life balance, it is so intrinsic in a woman that I think they are able to manage this beautifully from yesteryears. We have seen our mothers do it, our grandparents do it. I see my 11-year-old do it. Her time management is immaculate. Like, she has a roster for her personal life. She has everything scheduled. So there's so much we are always learning. And if you're open and receptive to new ideas, knowledge, wisdom, whether it is from a 10-year-old or whether it is from a 40-year-old, you're always in the learning process.
Yeah.
So allowing ourselves to be a beginner is also something that women have it in them.
Yeah. And what would your advice be to start off, you know, especially women in small towns and cities, Mansi, if they want to start a career, you know, and how should they go about it, entrepreneurship? I mean, if they want to.
Guys, do your research. Don't overthink it. If you are in your 20s, if you're in your early 30s, really, time is only a number. Like, I really wish I could have started much earlier, but my nature of my niche is that I come, you know, it has to come from experience. So I started much later, but I would say that every single thing that you do, you know, just make sure that nothing is going to go waste. So you may have a failed startup, you know, like they always say that 9 out of 10 startups will fail, right? That is okay. I'm very lucky that I have continued and survived this even lockdown. And I know somebody told me that in this pandemic, if you survive a week, pat your back, because it's like, if you survived a day, it's like you survived a week. If you survived a week, it's like you survived a month. And if you've survived a month, you've survived a year. So please be appreciative of that. So I would say that even just surviving that, right? So make sure that you are always loyal to your users. You're working for your consumer. That should be your topmost priority. Know your consumer. Time is finite. So please make optimal use of it. And whether you are a girl from Bombay or from Bhatinda or from any other small town, it doesn't matter. You are at a global playground now. Boundaries, I'm saying, why are you competing with startups in India? Compete at a global level. Knowledge is the currency. Make sure that you're hungry for it every single day. And you are a man or you're a woman, it doesn't matter. If you're a woman, play up your strength, right? Like, I get this question all the time, that do you think women founders have it tough? I was like, yes, we have it tough, but you know what? Play it to your advantage. Like, how many men remember the 100 startup pitches that they've heard from men versus 5 from women? Like, of course, like when I would pitch and I would ask that, hey, so, you know, a child should sleep X number of hours and whatever, and all the men in the room, all the VCs would all be men, and they would have never even changed a diaper or stayed awake a single night. I'm sure some of them would have. That's absolutely okay. I'm not generalizing, but I'm saying that's the nature, right? It doesn't matter. people will hear you. Let your work speak for yourself. Don't wait for someone else to acknowledge the good work that you want, that you need to do, or that you want to do. And always stay hungry. Like if you stay hungry, that's the only way you'll constantly keep learning, which according to me is the most important.
Now we've had Harpreet join us from Mom,
Finally!
and she's a global influencer. And Harpreet, tell us a bit about starting and your second innings after getting married. I know I've heard it on the Women Inspiring platform earlier, but I would like everybody to know your foray into entrepreneurship, how you started, and now you're a global influencer and created your own niche. Just like Mansi and Garima and Kamna in your chosen field of work.
Do you want to know about how I got into blogging, or how I started blogging after getting married and having kids?
How you started blogging after getting married and having kids, and throw a bit of light on your journey.
Okay, so it's very interesting. I had my first child, and I was on top of my game, and I was enjoying what I was doing. But then, okay, first of all, sorry. Hi, girls. Hi, girls. I'm late. I'm sorry. Hi.
Hi.
So, and then when my daughter was born, I don't know what came by. I just wanted to leave everything and just be with her. And this was one decision which was really criticized by every single person I know of, from colleagues to boss to friends to family. But something in me told me that नहीं करना है जो मैं अब कर रही हूँ, बहुत हो गया यार. I want to do what I want to do, and which was nothing. I didn't want to do anything. So my blog was not my plan. I wanted to sit back and enjoy my daughter, and I just started writing about it. And very generally, there were no perfect pictures. Everything was very very organic and very random. I don't know. I think there are a lot of women like me who struggle, who have struggles like I have, and they started following. बस ऐसे ही लोग जुड़ते गए, कारवां बनता गया यार. मतलब that's all. It just happened like that, and that's why I find it. I tell everybody this कि अगर ये मैं कर सकती हूँ, तो ये कोई भी कर सकता है. मतलब हमें बस एक we have to take that step. And we keep. मैं बहुत डरती थी पहले कि मैं अपना, तो मेरा एक लिंगो है लाइफ में जो मैं बहुत बोलती थी कि मैं कुछ और कर ही नहीं सकती, मुझे कुछ और आता ही नहीं है, मुझे सिर्फ एक जॉब करनी आती है 9 to 5. That's what I said all the time. And but this happened. So always take that leap of faith, take that step. Don't hold yourself back. So yeah.
I think you're on mute, Stuti.
Kamna, I'd like to hear your thoughts on entrepreneurship, especially like a message to women in small towns and tier 2, tier 3 cities.
Yep. So the first and foremost thing that I can break it down into 3 parts, which is what I used for myself, and that's the best advice I can give. The first and foremost thing is whatever career you choose, whatever you want to do, whatever you think of doing, it could be anything. First of all, I think you need to have the power within you and the self-confidence within you that, okay, this is what I want to do and this is what I am going to do. Not aiming, not just because I like it. This is something that I've thought about and I can do it and I want to do it. So that's your first thing. Once you cross that, then you move on and then you educate yourself. So research, observation, reading about your career, reading about your field, understanding it, being educated in it is your second step. The minute you know that, okay, this is what I want to do, you jump onto it, you latch onto it. So you understand it better, you read about it better, you observe people, you gain experience, you don't just start off. So being educated is the most important thing. Then where you come from, whether you're from a small city, big city, it doesn't matter, because your skill set is what matters essentially. And the last thing that you need to do, which I always stress upon, is have a basic plan. Yes, go into it. You want to go into it, but don't go so blindly that you don't have a plan at all. Like if you know that, like I knew I wanted to become a dancer, but I didn't know I could open a company. So my plan initially was small, which was, okay, let's freelance, let's get a bit of experience, let's learn, let's educate. As I went with that, that's when I understood, okay, my next step now is that I want to open a company. So go step by step. So just these are my 3 fundas, which I can break it down to: having the self-confidence that you can do it, educating yourself in that field, and then having a plan, and then just stick to it. then just stick, like you latch onto it. That's how I think, in easiest terms.
Garima, your thoughts, and then Harpreet.
I very much agree with what Kamna said. I think before anything else, it is your skill set that really matters. You have to constantly hone your skills. That is very, very important. I mean, people say that, you know, if I do this, I get successful. If I am dedicated, I'll get successful. If I work hard, I'll get successful. All these parameters are there and imperative. But what really has to happen parallelly in conjunction to you getting that opportunity to perform is also that you have to perform, and that can only happen with your hard skills. You might have excellent soft skills, everything is there, but what really eventually matters in the battlefield is how skilled you are in your area of expertise. So you have to constantly hone that, and just steer away from being a people pleaser. We all have done that, been there, done that, and understand really what and who really sparks that joy in your life. Cut down toxicity and negative people from your life. That will give you more and more time to you know, perfect your skills and sort of lead your consciousness to your own self, your own betterment. That is very, very important. And what else I can say? I would say set your boundaries. Time management is extremely important. Don't have a 5-year plan, but at least plan ahead that what is my to-do list for tomorrow and day after, at least for a week. You know, planning is so important. It gives you the best way to utilize your time in a more objective and robust way. So planning ahead is also.
Harpreet, your thoughts?
I want your question again. I missed half of it when you were talking.
What would your advice be for women, especially in smaller towns and cities, if they want to foray into entrepreneurship?
Just go ahead and do it. You know, that's it. You know, I told you, like, I always thought that I cannot do what I did now. Finally, I did this. I was underconfident. That मुझे blog के लिए आप मानोगे नहीं स्तुति इतने लोगों ने बोला था, which is like when blogs just started and I never had confidence in me, thinking कि मुझे कौन follow करेगा, और हम सब यही सोचते रहते हैं कि you know, who will look at me, who will see my work, but हम सबके लिए there's a lot of space and a lot of room here.
Niche for yourself in your space.
You just have to take your chance. And I'm saying it, I'm the biggest story here because I had zero confidence. I just knew a 9-to-5 job. You know me, you've seen my work. We work so much together. Like, I was a PR person and I didn't know anything else beyond that. But I took my chance, and see, God was very kind. So try it, take it. Just take your chance, and don't keep thinking that what I thought, nobody will follow me or nobody will see my work. But yeah, so do it. What Garima and Kamna said is great. Of course, all that falls with it, but
And this question is open to everybody. You know, how do you define success, and the obstacles you all have faced, and the support which you've all got from your family, if at all you got or you did not get it?
okay. Shall I say?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So the family I got married into, guys, was you know, typical Punjabi business family, and the first shart of my marriage was to leave work. They were very clear about it because I had a career before that, and they were very clear कि अगर आपको शादी करनी है, आपको career छोड़ना है. And I was in love, you know how we are all in love and we feel कि हाँ, मैं सब कुछ छोड़ दूँगी. And it was very tough, you know, for 1.5-2 years I was at home just pleasing, you know, that just being a daughter-in-law. But I love what I did that time also because I felt that अगर अब ये role है ना, तो इसको अच्छी तरह से निभाना है. And you know, a day came and, you know, I was really bored at home. One day, tables turned and my father just walked up to me, and he told me that, I know you get very bored and, you know, why don't you start working, you know, take up something smaller, lighter, and then as you go. And my biggest support system in my life has been my mother-in-law. She's like God for me, and she has supported me through and through my entire journey of my job, she looked after my kids when I was working, and it was a big taboo in my house because यहाँ कोई काम नहीं करता है. And now I opened up the whole universe for all your 7 sister-in-laws, all my 7 sister-in-laws, and they're all working. They're so successful in their own respective areas of work. So I give my entire success ka pura shred to my mother-in-law. Women support women. So.
Yes. Who would like, Mansi? Would you like to add?
So one is, honestly, for me, the biggest obstacle, like I said, is always time. And I think as women, we always create a lot of obstacles in our heads, right? Like Harpreet said, her biggest thing was she was very underconfident as an individual. She thought, who would listen to me? Why would people? So I think a lot of self-blocks that we create are self-owned and self-submitted to ourselves, right? So I think that is very, very important. The other bit of it is also that when, guys, we're also talking of the top 1 percentile of the country who's extremely privileged. Let's not forget the 99% who do not come with these luxuries and are fighting in so many battles every single day to make their space and voice heard. For them, I would only say that, listen, just follow your heart. And, you know, this is something that my mother told me. And my mom's a working mom. She's been, you know, raised 4 daughters and has been working. And she always said that, you know, make yourself so capable that you never need to depend on anybody else for a living. And it kind of stayed with me. And I teach the same thing to my daughters as well. And she also told me one very important thing, which was सबसे बड़ा रोग है क्या कहेंगे लोग. So many dreams are just nipped in the bud just because of that one thought. Always fear, what is somebody else going to think of me? I kid you not, when I started, I would record these selfie shot videos on my laptop. And when I look back at those videos now, oh my God, I can't believe it. But they are there. They're there on our YouTube channel for everybody to see. And for me to remind me, how far have I come? So when you tell me what is success, I don't pen it as how far I want to go, because that is a movable milestone, right? That's going to constantly keep evolving as you evolve and grow as an individual. For me, success is how far I've come. How far, like when I started Kids Talk Press, I cannot tell you how anxiously I waited for the first comment to come. Like, oh my God, matlab kitne din nikal gaye. And I was like, oh my God, somebody has to comment, right? Somebody has to see.
I've been your follower. Mansi, I've been your follower from day one, huh? Like day one.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really amazing.
From seeing those comments to seeing now when we've launched, you know, when we've launched our courses or where we've launched our podcast or where we've launched our books, you know, I see those comments now convert to revenue, right? So that whole journey, that is success for me. For me, success is also my daughters seeing what I am doing, right? They're seeing me not as a dependent individual, but being a self-sustained individual, right? And you know, I have to say this. I know we're pressed for time. Let me say this. You know, once me and my husband were actually putting my daughter to sleep, my girls to sleep, and we asked them, so what you guys want to grow up when you become big? And my husband was really disappointed with this answer, but they both said, we want to run Kids Talk Press. And my husband was like, nobody wants to do what dad is doing. And he was so heartbroken. And, you know, in my head, that was a big success story for me. It meant that they have a role model to look up to because, you know, I'm doing what my mom did to me, right? Like, she never told me that impossible was a word. And I hope I'm recreating that for my girls.
Yeah. So I have a story to share with all of you. You know, when I was, I went to a boarding school, but my parents were from a small town in India. And, you know, when I went for my master's to Symbiosis, my director did not want to give me a seat because he said, you come from a traditional family and you will get married, okay? And, you know, I was like, shit, my sister had an arranged marriage and she was only 19 and a half when she got married. I didn't see myself getting married at that young age. And I was like, if I stay back in my small town, my parents' access to arranged marriages would be small town people. And here I've been, you know, boarding school educated. I was in LSR, but again in the hostel in Delhi. And so I told my director, I looked him in the eye and I said, I shall have my company one day. I think he saw that conviction. He decided to give me a seat. And of course, then when I was 23,
That's the history, which is amazing.
and I was 20.
That's amazing.
In
Absolutely.
Bombay, after working for a year with Ogilvy, I started Crosshairs, the PR business. And a few years back, he called me in New York to talk on entrepreneurship. And he said, she was my one student who I thought will, and
Wow.
I saw something in her eye and she proved me wrong. There were all these people who were telling, oh, we'll do this and some, so people don't do that. So I feel your journey of success changes. And, even like I've been for a women leadership program, which is with Fortune 500 companies, which is on entrepreneurship and women leadership. And it had the likes of the Ariana Huffington and Indra Nooyi and all. And I was like, there's so much we as women in our country can impart in terms of women leadership. And, I've been thinking about creating a platform like the Women Inspiring Network, but never had the time. And of course, lockdown happened. And now I feel like, we have that resilience, the passion to do whatever we want at different points of our life. So today we cannot say that, okay, I did this at 23, but why should I do something else? They both are complementing each other. Like my PR business is complementing my current business, and everything can, if you prioritize it in a right manner, we can all do things in a manner.
Right. If I may add, somebody told me a similar thing. Like, I know one of my first rounds of funding, I met this one investor and he said, you know what, women only build, and mothers especially, they build only neighborhood businesses. I kid you not, I was so upset after listening to that I said, I am not only going to build a big business, but I'm also going to make sure that I empower all those moms who are building neighborhood businesses which could scale. And then we launched, of course, our awards, which, puts all of these women into limelight. And of course, now launched courses for them because I wanted to provide that infrastructure and help in terms of learning and scaling businesses, which I didn't have. So I think it's incredible when you say that, because I think we as women leaders are paving way for so many amazing women along the way.
No, and the fact is, like, I still have a lot of cousins from my husband's side or from my mom's parents' side, who would be late 20s or even reaching 30, and they'll say, oh, she's not getting married. I said, let them focus on their career. I mean, something else can come in later. So, I mean, we have to encourage and support other women. Garima, why don't you throw some light and being a single parent, if you'd like to elaborate, and the obstacles you face, and, how important is support. Please throw some light on that.
Raising two very, very lovely kids, Garima.
Thank you so much, Harpreet. Thanks a lot. So I'll pick it up from where Mansi said very rightly that people say that don't look back. I think it's very, very important every day on a constant basis to see that, how this whole metamorphosis has happened for you, from where you were cocooned into just a caterpillar to coming out into a beautiful butterfly. It's really, really important to look back every day and tell yourself that, okay, I have covered this journey just by having faith in myself. And what I really feel is there's nothing single about being a single parent. Everything is double. There are double duties. There's double work. There's, everything is just double. There is a lot of work, definitely. And there are so many times that I just feel that it's not working, and I have those days. But in terms of the biggest obstacle, I would say is a skill that I have acquired with time, which is my assertiveness to now say no. Where I say that, thank you, I like your offer, I'm honored, but I'm not in. Earlier, I would be just, letting people take advantage of me, taking me for granted. Even if somebody is belittling me, I'm fine with that. I would see it. Maybe I have this, maybe this isn't me. This is not in me. I don't have the skill. Maybe I cannot voice it. So all these things, what people would say, I would downplay my skills, and I've done all that. And the day I actually started believing in the art of saying no, I felt that how lighter my life was, and definitely, and also understanding that first things first is, if you are, if you are not working on your own well-being, your own health first, again, I'll come back to the same topic, prioritizing yourself first before your kids, before your work, before your profession. You have to put yourself first, and rest, everything will be sorted. So I will request people that it is okay to say no, especially the younger generation who tend to become like, if I do this, this will please my boss. If I do this, this will please my best friend. If I do this, this will please my parents, and so on. The list is endless. And what happens in that whole process is that your entire disposition is somewhere lost. So my only request is that I urge you to, think about yourself first. Put that oxygen mask first before you give it to anyone else around you.
And Kamna, tell us who's been your role model, and what's the biggest life lesson you've learned till date?
So, when it comes to role models and inspiration, I think I'm someone who takes it from very, very small things in life, and very, very different. And but I remember when I was only about 14 years old, I actually had the opportunity to travel, and I had the opportunity to meet Nelson Mandela. So even though he's not my role model, he did say one thing to me, which has been like, it's just been in my head since I was 13 years old. And he told me a story about this woman, and then he summed it up by saying that you keep swimming tough waters, and you keep swimming until you reach a shore where you want it to be. And now that can take one day, or it can take your whole lifetime. So don't ever judge yourself by how long you take to fight the waters and reach where you want to reach. And he had told me this when I was 30, and I was a very stubborn 13-year-old girl who wanted to do all these crazy things. And somehow that one thing has kind of stuck with me. So whenever I'm down and out, that's my first sometimes I just like pen it down again. So that's the only thing that keeps me going. And in terms of like life lessons, when you talk about, I think that's so subjective to everybody. But the one thing that one or two things that I've picked up in my life is, one thing, that the power only lies within you. There is nobody else. And this is not just for women. This is for any human being that there is. The power lies within you. You want to do something. You don't want to do something. You want to, you want to be happy. You don't want to be happy. These are also powers that lie within us, to be very honest. It's your choice. And like Garima very rightly said, like I like the way she said that, put your oxygen mask on first, which is simply saying that the power is yours. It's within you. So that's one thing that I put by. And the other very important thing, especially to the younger kids right now, I think this whole idea of comparing yourself day in, day out with other people and social media, and yes, social media is amazing, but use it for yourself. And this whole idea of comparing yourself with oneself, with somebody else, is the worst thing you can do. Compare yourself with yourself. Like, that's what I do. I watch like my dance video, which I did yesterday, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad. Then I'll do it today, and then I'll be like, okay, this is good. So that's actually how I function, So if there's anything that I've learned, is that I just compete with myself. I compare myself to myself. And that's exactly like how I evaluate success, how I am today as compared to how I was yesterday.
Who else would like to add to this? Mansi, Garima, Harpreet?
You'll have to just remind me of the question.
What has been the biggest lesson life has taught you, and your role model? Who has
role model have to be two people. One has to be, of course, my mom, and the second, which is more now, is actually Priyanka Chopra. And I am not like I am a big Bollywood fan, but the reason I say that I'm an absolute smitten kitten when it comes to her, simply because when the world was pitting her against a contemporary from Bollywood, she went ahead and created a whole new universe for herself, right? So when people often ask me, who's your competition? Who's your competition? I say, mera to koi competition hi nahi hai. Like, why? Why am I competing with somebody in India? Why am I not competing with somebody outside of the country? Like I just told everybody, right? We are living in boundaryless world. So why should my competition be from India? And the biggest learning was the question?
The inspiration, role model inspiration, and what is the lesson which life taught you?
The lesson life taught me is, dude, time is too short. Abhi jo karna hai kar lo. There's just no tomorrow. And I tell this to my kids as well. There is no tomorrow. Live today. And you know, and we've seen a really good movie. You know, I just saw it a couple of days ago with my children, which was on Ariana Berlin. She was a gymnast.
Yeah.
And her teacher said, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie. It's a brilliant movie. And watch it with your daughter. It's absolutely brilliant, right? And the teacher says to her, assume there is no tomorrow. You know, I thought the movie was supposed to be for the bachas, but that line has not erased from my thing. And the other one line, which I keep telling my team, and I've written it right outside my cabin, which is be bigger than your excuses, right? So every day you wake up and you play mind games. No, I can't work out today, or I can't do this today. So I keep telling my team, come up with newer excuses and let them be bigger than what your last one was. And that's the only way. Otherwise, nothing. Yeah, life is too beautiful.
Harpreet, Garima?
So my role model is there are many actually. You know, I learn a lot from everybody, and I like to pick up good things from. So I learn from a cab driver at times when I see he's having a rough day, and then he opens my sometime door when you take Uber XL, and they say, "Thank you, ma'am," and I just feel that what a tough day he's having, you know, but he's trying to give that little happiness to me. So I tell this to my kids, yaar, unko dekho, तुम्हारे पास सब कुछ है. You still are always crying. So yes, I learn, and my staff especially, I see quarantine happening. They haven't met their families. मैं बहुत सीखती हूँ यार सुती अपने आसपास से. मुझे लगता है there's so much and you look around. My son, the patience game that he has taught me, he tells me many times that mom, he's just 10 and he's like, mom, just calm down.
Peace out.
And I'm like, but na aapki class hai, aapka ye.
My daughter says that.
He's like, mom, it's okay. It's just fine. And I look at Ayat, it's raining, you know, and in Delhi it's raining today. And she's all over. Yeah. She doesn't care कि हम लोग कितना सोचते हैं कपड़े खराब हो जाएंगे, skin में ये हो जाएगा, उसमें ये हो जाएगा. She's just lying. I can see her. She's lying down and playing in water. Wow, what a beautiful thing to learn, yeah. That कितना सोच रहे हैं हम लोग, कितने ifs and buts हैं हमारी life में. Look at these kids, yeah. So that's that. You learn so much from them. And then my mother-in-law, because वो मेरे लिए बहुत important है मेरी life में यार. मैंने उनसे बहुत कुछ सीखा है because so we come from a very typical joint family. I mentioned this to earlier also. That, you know, 7-8 brothers hai, फिर daughter-in-laws hai, it's a huge family, and she's the youngest. Being the youngest and how she managed it all. And I was the youngest daughter-in-law to rebel and go working, you know. And yeah, so मुझे बहुत सीखने को मिलता है उनसे कि how you make a life and how you make a life with keeping everybody happy. You don't have to, you know, झंडा लेके लड़ना नहीं है हर बार. There are ways to, you know, tackle your problems. So yes, तो ऐसे ही कुछ थोड़े से लोग हैं मेरी लाइफ में जिनसे मैं बहुत कुछ सीखती हूँ.
Garima, why don't you add?
So me, hustling and juggling is something I taught from my mother because my father passed away at a very young age. So I used to see her wake up at 4 a.m., do the chores. Then she was teaching in a school. She was a principal at a school, at a convent. So she would go early in the morning after doing all the housework, making us ready, and then coming back and doing again the housework. And then she would have loads of books to correct and all the school stuff to do. So, you know, from there it started. So for me, that sense of responsibility evolved at a very young age. And I come from an army family too, both sides, father and mom side. So my Tauji actually was the closest to. That time we didn't have the digital age, so we would handwrite the letters to each other. And he taught me perpetually everything in life. The discipline he instilled in me, whether it would be taking the walk in the parks, you know, washing your own toilet, doing your own chores and taking pride in it, growing your own vegetables, everything is you do. He taught me in life, no job is small. So from that day till today, I never say never. Even if it means I don't get worked up. Oh my God, maid nahi hai. Oh my God, cook nahi hai. Oh my God, ye ho jayega. No, I'm very calm. I'm like, you know, I'm washing my toilet. I'm doing my dishes. I'm doing the kids ka padhai. I'm getting ready. I'm doing my shoots. I'm editing. I'm like, you know, one-man army so many times. And I never say never.
Also,
and this is
great, if I may add what Garima is saying, is, you know, हम लोग ने इतना देखा था, हम लोग को अभी काम से डर नहीं लगता. I think that's
yes, truly.
So for me,
scared of work.
Yeah, for me, guys,
And you're
I
not
want to
scared to learn.
I want to share
right? So-
something here. Like how Mansi is saying, हमें डर नहीं लगता. Mansi, because Mansi is also a PR associate. So you remember Mansi City Walk में वो events होते थे बीच में, that circle, that if you remember
Yeah,
that center stage.
of course.
So you know मेरे को अब मैं जिस इंडस्ट्री से आई हूँ मैं एक इवेंट वाली थी. I used to अगर कोई नहीं है तो मैं वो चेयर भी लगा देती थी, टेबल पे कपड़ा भी लगा देती थी. I've done all of that. Now when I go to events at times, they treat you with so much love and respect, and Harpreet is coming. At times I'm so uncomfortable because मुझे तो वो टेबल उठाने ही आदत है. That
You get fidgety, yes.
लग रहा है. And now suddenly we have come into a space where I'm Miss, Mom Miss Prada is here, and my team laughs at me sometimes. They tell me, you are a celebrity, like behave yourself, calm down, look sophisticated and sweet, and don't start talking he, like acha cameraman nahi hai, main bula do apna cameraman. So they're like a Dharma saying that we are so used to doing our own thing.
Today and every day has been someone or the other, but today you all have really inspired me, and especially during the lockdown Women Inspiring Network, I've heard such amazing stories of women, from COVID to change makers to women entrepreneurs to media personalities to influencers. It's really been great. We just have time for 2 quick questions. One is, how should women create balance in work and professional life? How have you all managed to create a balance between work and, home and professional life? Who'd like to go first? Mansi?
So I think Garima, I can add.
No,
So-
Mansi, go ahead.
So I honestly believe that there is no balance. Women often use this term of guilt and all that crap. Guilt comes when something is not of your own, right? So in my head and in everybody around me, I have 3 children, 2 biological and 1 that I chose, right? Which is my startup. And so if you're spending time with 1 out of the 3, where's the scope for guilt? That's point number 1. And second, I always believe that, balance is, you're always looking for an ideal solution. I look at it as a seesaw. That equilibrium is what you need to stop seeking. मतलब एक दिन ऐसा होगा जब ये पलड़ा भारी होगा. One day this is going to be higher. So if you're going to make peace with that, I think you will be at so much better off. But I may also add, while a lot of you guys spoke that, women can get married whenever they want, women should not be judged or asked questions. When are you getting married? When are you getting a baby? When are you, at every different milestone, you'll be asked a different question. I may sound very orthodox at this, but I want to say this, that, there is a time for your evolution at every age. Okay. And I see Kamna's eyes light up when I say this, but do not misunderstand me. The choice is always yours, but understand that your biological clock is ticking. And that is why people are questioning, women get really offended when people say, "Arey, tumhari shaadi nahi hua, that is absolutely okay." And I may be unruffling a lot of feathers, but I have seen my own sisters and friends go through so much of trauma when they could not conceive. And of course, you have 200 other options right now to have a baby. And maybe having a baby is not on your radar or not on your list. That's okay. If you're clear with that goal, that's absolutely fine. But that balance comes from what your evolution process is and which part of your journey you are. If you're very clear that, listen, it's okay, I don't want to have a kid, or I'm okay to have those 5 cycles of IVF, or I may just have a baby, even at 35, I know my body, I can do it. That's absolutely okay. But that balance has to come out of which life stage you are at, right? Because nobody will ever question a man, or the man is not going to take a maternity break because he's not going to be breastfeeding. He's not going to have a stomach which goes in and comes back like boomerang, right? So that's not going to happen to him. So unfortunately, you are the bearer. In my case, I'd say fortunately, I'm the bearer of that child. And I need to understand that that is not limiting me, but it's a progression in my life and the next stage, which I'm happy to embrace.
So you've created a memory for me, Mansi. I got married pretty early, actually, 25, but I had a child 10 years later, and everybody kept asking me, when are you having a child? When are you having a child?
It's the most palpable question.
You have to be ready for it. I never wanted kids, but when I was in my mid-30s, then I realized you have to then live with the decision. And I was lucky, like without any external help or whatever, I was able to do it. So I'm saying you have to be ready. So each to their own, you know.
Be ready for the consequences.
That is the,
Be ready for the consequences.
I'm just gonna.
and the sad truth is that you'll
I'm just
always
gonna cut
be
in here a
judged.
little because I feel like what Mansi said is not wrong. She's absolutely correct that there is an evolution, and you can't refute that. That's a natural evolution that every woman has to go through, and there is so. But at the same time, like like how she said that you will be asked these questions. That's fine. That's fine. But like I said that. It's a simple thing. It's your priority. So what you prioritize your evolution to be. Like the same way, Stuti, you got married at 25 but decided to have a kid at 35. It may not have been like that for many people. So for me, that's how I think of it, that your evolution is your priority. I agree completely that a woman's body naturally and biologically also has so many changes that you can't just make decisions on emotions and passion all the time. You have to think of that as well. But once again, for me, even comes back to your question, which is work-life balance. It's just prioritize. And very rightly, she said that एक दिन होएगा when you have to work longer hours, you can't come home or you can't attend to something. But then there'll be one day where you make up for that by balancing it the other way. So how does it? So for me, when you say work-life balance for a woman, it's work-life balance for anybody, any human.
Exactly, I agree.
Sad truth is that you'll always be judged, as I was saying. If you choose your kids, your work, over your work, then you'll be like, oh, she has no career. If you choose to be a homemaker, you'll always get to hear this.
It
So
happened.
I am not guilty anymore that I can't organize a pizza party for my kids. I used to have these guilt pants prod me over all the time. I'm missing my sports day. I'm at work and I'm not able to take up a outstation assignment, which is very lucrative just because, I'm parenting at home. But all those things, you'll always constantly be judged. So don't have any guilt pans. You are giving your best, and that is what really matters from whatever resources are available around you.
Yeah.
But, girls, I had my son 6 years of my marriage, and people had an issue that you've taken 6 years to have her hand. So is there an issue with you? I was judged there. Then I had my son and I went back to work. So people had an issue with that also. That you have a baby in 3 months, you want to go back to work. With my daughter, I left work. Then people had issue with that also. Oh, she never needed to work.
Yeah.
So, where do you go? People are never happy.
I think what Kamna said is very interesting. She said that, I think what she said was that, I need to answer to those people. Kamna, you never need to answer to anybody else but yourself.
Yeah, that's what I do, which is why I'm still single.
Okay, so now we're sort of reaching the end of the session. So quickly, in 30 seconds each, please give us a winning message for our viewers and especially to the kids at Jai Hind. So please give us a quick message, a winning message.
Okay, so I'll go first and I'll say this. So I have learned till in 38 years of my life is just be grateful for what you have. You will attract a lot more positivity then. It's like my mantra for my kids. Every night they say, thank you, God, for everything. Every morning we wake up with that. So that's what I feel is everything in life for me.
Mansi?
Be hungry and be bigger than your excuses.
Lima?
What is the question? Sorry, I dropped out.
Winning message for our viewers in 30 seconds.
Okay, walk the talk, practice what you preach, and yes, as Mansi said, you have to unlearn a lot to learn new things in life. Very important.
Kamna?
So I have a very simple I instill this in my team every day. There's a 3P mantra that I follow, which is practice, patience, and perseverance. Practice, keep patient, result will show. And perseverance is like you become a leech to what you want and just go for it.
So I'd like to say, be the change you want to see in the world. But thank you all for joining us at the Women Inspiring Network. It has been a great, great journey for all of us at the Women Inspiring Network. So for all our viewers out there, it actually took shape during lockdown. We first started with a webinar which had 70 speakers, leadership lessons on COVID, media personalities, women change makers, entrepreneurs, homemakers. Then we had positive voices of women. We did 100 videos of women, what kept them positive during COVID. June was our film series, where with the support of Inox and BW Business World, we had a reach of 10 million audience, which we had actors, filmmakers, different women connected with the film industry. We have a very interesting series coming up, which is called The Winning Minds, which will be curated by Amrita Chaudhary, who is heading Harlequin, and this would be with women authors. And one of the authors would be for the movie which is coming out. She's written the screenplay for Shakuntala Devi. Next week, we are doing a series with IIT, which is Fashion, Tech and Sustainability, where we have Bandana Tiwari, who was ex-fashion features editor Vogue, but she's now a sustainability activist based out of Bali. And she is going to be joined by Roma Narsinghi, who's participating in the first Digital Fashion Week, as well as Lota Design. So we have a lot more coming. A mental health series with high school children and young professional and college going students have done really well. It shows a lot of courage, where people have come out with their stories to tell us what they faced. So it has been an exciting journey. Each day we are getting inspired. And thank you so much, Kamna, Mansi, Harpreet and Garima for joining us today. You've all inspired us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, love. Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Wonderful knowing and meeting everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.